Steam's winter sale is massive, and it's almost over. Over the past few videos, we've covered dozens of incredible hidden gems that are easy to miss among the big releases. So today, we're bringing all 4 lists together into one ultimate compilation. From cozy indies and retro throwbacks to intense horror and pure arcade action, these are 80 Steam Winter Sale hidden gems you should check out before the deals disappear.
Everyone talks about the biggest AAA discounts during the Steam Winter Sale, but let's be honest, the real magic is hiding just beneath the surface. Today, we're spotlighting 20 hidden gems that deserve way more attention than they get. These are the games that surprise you, hook you, and make you wonder how they flew under the radar. So, grab your wish list because these underrated Steam deals might just become your next obsession. Cruelty Squad is one of Steam's most bizarre and unforgettable hidden gems, a first-person tactical shooter that throws out the rulebook and invites chaos. It's brutally weird and mixes strategic elimination with surreal visuals that stick in your mind long after you stop playing. It's set in a grotesque dystopian world where corporate contracts are king, and your job is to infiltrate and neutralize, all while navigating absurdly distorted environments that feel more like a fever dream than a traditional shooter. What really sets Cruelty Squad apart is its unique aesthetic, intentionally crude, murky graphics paired with twisted humor, a visual style that thrives on shock value and curiosity rather than polish. Underneath the weirdness, there's surprisingly deep tactical gameplay where loadout choice, movement decisions, and timing matter more than just spraying bullets. If you love games that defy genres and leave you saying, "What did I just play?" this title is a perfect winter sale pick that almost no one else is talking about. Northern Journey is a more subtle gem, an atmospheric exploration game inspired by Norwegian folklore and narrative exploration games. While not as high profile as some indie hits, it's rich with mood, observation, and quiet introspection. In Northern Journey, you'll traverse serene environments, uncover stories through objects and sightings, and soak in a world that feels organic and surprisingly deep for an under-the-radar release. The game is perfect for winter sale players who want a break from frenetic action and instead enjoy visual storytelling and peaceful pacing. It also fits perfectly on a Steam wishlist due to its affordable price tag and replayable environments that reward slow players. If you're into games like Firewatch or What Remains of Edith Finch, Northern Journey scratches that same curiosity itch, but with its own flavor. Dread Delusion is a rising hidden gem, a first-person RPG that wears its classic RPG inspirations proudly, offering non-linear exploration and high player freedom. Online discussions listed as a standout recommendation among lesser-known RPGs. The game evokes the feel of Morrowind, but with its own unique lore, oddball NPCs, and an eerie, floating world aesthetic that's instantly intriguing. You'll explore sprawling environment on foot or by fast travel, completing quests, leveling up skills, and uncovering secrets at your own pace, a treat for fans of old-school RPGs. What makes it especially compelling on sale is the sheer amount of content you can dive into for a modest price, spanning deep world-building and unpredictable encounters. For players craving open-ended role-playing without a huge price tag, Dread Delusion is one winter sale steal that's built for long sessions of discovery and lore hunting. Noita is a standout indie title where every pixel is simulated, meaning fire spreads, liquids flow, and explosions carve the environment in real time, a truly chaotic playground. In this roguelike platformer, you play as a witch descending dangerous, procedurally generated caves, collecting spells, and battling bizarre enemies as you go. The learning curve is steep, but the satisfaction of combining spells and exploiting environmental physics is huge and keeps players coming back for more. Noita's unique mechanics and interactive world earned it nominations for Innovation and Technology Awards early in its life cycle, proving it's not just weird, it's smartly designed.
If you love unpredictable gameplay and mastering systems more than memorizing levels, Noita is an unforgettable winter sale pick that delivers tons of value.
Hyperdemon is a high-octane first-person shooter that turns up the speed and intensity to 11. It's all about aggressive movement, brutal weapon combos, and surviving hordes of enemies at breakneck pace. Think Doom meets speedrun mania. Every room is fast, every encounter is lethal, and mastery of movement keeps you alive. What makes Hyperdemon stand out on sale is how quickly it grabs you. You'll go from confused to addicted in minutes. It's especially rewarding for players who liked classic arena shooters and are craving a modern twist that's both stylish and unforgiving. If you want an intense, adrenaline-pumping hidden gem that will feel new even if you've played a lot of shooters, Hyperdemon is a perfect Steam Winter Sale surprise. Signalis is a love letter to classic survival horror, blending old-school design with modern storytelling. From the fixed camera angles to the limited inventory, it immediately channels the tension of early Resident Evil and Silent Hill. It's retro, but very intentional. The game follows Elster, a technician replica searching for a lost partner in a crumbling sci-fi facility. What starts as a familiar survival horror setup slowly turns into something far more psychological and emotionally driven. The narrative unfolds subtly, rewarding attentive players. Gameplay focuses on resource management, puzzle solving, and deliberate combat. Ammo is scarce, enemies are threatening, and sometimes avoidance is smarter than fighting. That constant pressure keeps every decision meaningful. Visually, Signalis uses a striking low-poly PS1-inspired art style paired with modern lighting and sound design. The haunting soundtrack and disturbing imagery work together to create an atmosphere that sticks with you. If you're a horror fan who values mood and story over cheap jump scares, Signalis is an absolute must-buy during the Steam Winter Sale, and one of the best modern takes on classic survival horror. Infra is one of those games that quietly blows you away if you give it time. It's a first-person exploration game with no combat, no hand-holding, and a serious focus on environmental storytelling. This is pure investigative immersion. You play as a structural analyst inspecting decaying infrastructure, tunnels, dams, abandoned facilities, and slowly uncover a much larger mystery. The story isn't force-fed to you, it's discovered through observation, notes, and careful exploration. What makes Infra special is its realism. The environments feel lived in and believable, and the puzzles are grounded in logic rather than gamey contrivances. It trusts the player to think. The pacing is slow but deliberate, perfect for players who enjoy soaking in atmosphere and piecing things together themselves. It's surprisingly tense despite the lack of combat, proving that danger doesn't always need enemies. If you enjoy games like The Witness or Firewatch but want something more grounded and mysterious, Infra is a deeply underrated gem worth grabbing on sale. Fights in Tight Spaces is a stylish fusion of turn-based strategy and cinematic action. Imagine planning fight choreography like a tactical puzzle, where every move looks ripped straight out of an action movie. Combat plays out using a deck-building system, where positioning, timing, and card synergy are everything. Each encounter feels like a tightly designed puzzle rather than a random brawl. The minimalist visual style is one of the game's biggest strengths. Clean animations and sharp camera angles make even simple moves look incredibly cool. It's easy to follow, but never boring. Difficulty ramps up gradually, encouraging experimentation with different decks and strategies. You're constantly learning new ways to outsmart enemies rather than overpower them. If you love strategy games but want something faster, flashier, and easier to jump into, Fights in Tight Spaces is an excellent Steam Winter Sale pickup that feels refreshingly unique. Sable is all about exploration, freedom, and self-discovery. There's no combat, no fail states, just a beautiful open world begging to be explored at your own pace. It's a rare kind of game that simply lets you exist in its world. You play as Sable, a young nomad embarking on a rite of passage journey across vast deserts and ancient ruins. The story unfolds naturally through encounters and discoveries rather than cutscenes. The art style is instantly recognizable, inspired by the works of Mobius, giving the game a painterly, almost dreamlike look. Combined with its ambient soundtrack, the atmosphere is incredibly relaxing. Traversal is the real joy here. Climbing, gliding, and hoverbiking across massive landscapes feels liberating. Exploration is always rewarded with lore, upgrades, or quiet moments of reflection. If you're looking for a chill, visually stunning experience to unwind with during the winter sale, Sable is a hidden gem that offers something truly different. Lunacid is a throwback dungeon crawler inspired by From Software's early Kingsfield games. It's slow, eerie, and unapologetically old school, in the best way possible. The game drops you into a dark, interconnected dungeon filled with secrets, strange creatures, and cryptic lore. There's very little guidance, encouraging players to explore carefully and learn through experience. Combat is deliberate and methodical, with an emphasis on positioning and timing rather than button mashing. Every enemy encounter feels tense, especially when resources are limited. Visually, Lunacid embraces retro aesthetics, but the atmosphere is modern and oppressive. The sound design and lighting do a lot of heavy lifting, creating a constant sense of unease. For players who love slow-burn exploration and classic dungeon design, Lunacid is an easy recommendation and a perfect hidden gem to grab during the Steam Winter Sale. Cultic is an old-school first-person shooter that proudly embraces its retro roots while adding modern polish. Inspired by classic 90s shooters, it delivers fast movement, chunky weapons, and an unapologetically gritty tone. You're dropped into a sinister, cult-ridden world filled with hostile environments and relentless enemies. The game wastes no time getting you into the action, constantly pushing you forward with tight level design. Combat is where Cultic really shines. Weapons feel heavy and impactful, with reloading, enemy reactions, and sound design all working together to make every firefight satisfying. Despite its retro visuals, the game uses modern lighting and effects to create a surprisingly creepy atmosphere. It manages to balance high-speed action with genuine horror elements. If you're a fan of classic shooters like Blood or Doom, but want something that feels fresh, Cultic is a must-buy hidden gem during the Steam Winter Sale. Norco is a narrative-driven adventure that blends cyberpunk themes with Southern Gothic storytelling. It's a deeply personal game that focuses more on atmosphere and emotion than traditional gameplay mechanics. Set in a dystopian version of Louisiana, the game explores family, loss, and technology through dialogue, exploration, and striking pixel art. Every scene feels intentional and carefully crafted. Rather than relying on puzzles or action, Norco leans heavily into its writing and world building. Conversations are meaningful, often uncomfortable, and always thought-provoking. The art direction is one of the game's strongest features, combining industrial decay with surreal imagery. Its soundtrack perfectly complements the tone, enhancing this sense of melancholy and unease. If you enjoy story-focused games that aren't afraid to be weird or introspective, Norco is a standout hidden gem that feels tailor-made for players seeking something different.
Ultrakill is a hyper-fast, style-driven first-person shooter that rewards aggression and creativity. It combines the speed of classic shooters with combo-based scoring inspired by character action games. The game pushes players to stay on the offensive, healing through damage dealt and chaining stylish moves together. Standing still isn't an option. Movement is survival. Weapons are versatile and designed for experimentation, encouraging players to find their own high-skill playstyles. Mastery feels incredibly rewarding as you climb the style ranks. Visually, Ultrakill embraces a minimalist retro look while delivering explosive effects and smooth animation. The soundtrack fuels the intensity, making every encounter feel like a boss fight. For FPS fans who want speed, challenge, and pure adrenaline,
Ultrakill is one of the most exciting hidden gems you can grab during the Steam Winter Sale.
The Forgotten City is a narrative-driven mystery built around a time loop mechanic and player choice. Originally a Skyrim mod, it evolved into a full standalone experience with a strong identity of its own. Set in an ancient Roman city, the game tasks you with uncovering a deadly secret tied to a divine rule that must not be broken. Every conversation and decision matters. Progress comes from investigation, dialogue, and logical reasoning rather than combat. You're constantly learning new information and using it to alter future loops. The writing is sharp and engaging, offering multiple endings based on your choices. It respects player intelligence and encourages experimentation. If you enjoy thoughtful storytelling and mystery over action, The Forgotten City is a hidden gem that delivers a surprisingly rich experience, especially at a winter sale price.
Loop Hero flips the roguelike formula on its head by putting you in control of the world rather than the hero. Your character moves automatically while you shape the environment around them. By placing tiles, enemies, and structures, you influence difficulty, rewards, and survival. Every decision has consequences, making strategy the heart of the experience. The pixel art style is deceptively simple, but full of charm, and the soundtrack adds to the game's strangely hypnotic rhythm. It's easy to lose hours to just one more loop. Progression is steady and satisfying, unlocking new classes, mechanics, and strategies as you play. The game constantly evolves, keeping things fresh. If you love clever mechanics and addictive gameplay loops, Loop Hero is an essential hidden gem that offers massive value during the Steam Winter Sale.
Ender Lilies is a beautifully somber Metroidvania that blends challenging combat with a melancholic story. It immediately stands out thanks to its emotional tone and painterly art style. You play as Lily, a young girl exploring a ruined kingdom overtaken by corruption. Rather than fighting directly, Lily summons spirits of fallen warriors, each offering different combat abilities. Combat is methodical and rewarding, focusing on positioning, timing, and smart ability combinations. As you unlock new spirits, the gameplay steadily evolves and deepens. The soundtrack plays a huge role in setting the mood, with haunting piano pieces that linger long after you put the controller down. It perfectly complements the game's tragic atmosphere. If you enjoy Metroidvanias with strong storytelling and atmosphere, Ender Lilies is a hidden gem that feels tailor-made for long winter gaming sessions.
Void Bastards is a roguelike first-person shooter that mixes dark humor with smart resource management. Its comic book art style immediately sets it apart from more serious sci-fi shooters. You're tasked with guiding disposable prisoners through abandoned spaceships, scavenging for supplies, and fighting hostile enemies along the way. Death is expected and built directly into the experience. Gameplay emphasizes planning over raw shooting skill. Deciding which ships to board, what risks to take, and when to retreat is just as important as combat itself. The procedurally generated encounters keep each run fresh, while persistent upgrades give you a strong sense of progression. It strikes a great balance between challenge and accessibility. If you want a shooter that's clever, funny, and endlessly replayable, Void Bastards is an easy recommendation during the Steam Winter Sale.
Pathologic 2 is not an easy game, and that's entirely the point. It's a narrative survival experience that prioritizes atmosphere, moral choices, and psychological tension over fun in the traditional sense. Set in a strange town gripped by a deadly plague, you're constantly struggling against time, hunger, exhaustion, and impossible decisions. Every choice feels heavy. The game blends survival mechanics with deeply philosophical storytelling, forcing players to confront themes of suffering, responsibility, and uncertainty. There are no perfect outcomes. Its world is deliberately unsettling, filled with cryptic dialogue and surreal imagery. The discomfort is intentional, pulling you deeper into its bleak narrative. If you're looking for a challenging, thought-provoking experience that stays with you long after the credits roll, Pathologic 2 is a truly unforgettable hidden gem.
Darkwood is a top-down survival horror game that proves fear doesn't need jump scares. Instead, it relies on atmosphere, sound design, and relentless tension. Set in a cursed forest, the game traps you in a hostile environment where danger feels constant and unpredictable. Daytime is for exploration, nighttime is about survival. Resources are scarce, forcing players to carefully plan every move. Combat is slow and risky, making avoidance a valid and often smarter option. The game's unsettling audio design and minimalist visuals work together to create dread without relying on cheap tricks. It trusts the player's imagination to do the rest. For horror fans who crave tension and atmosphere over action, Darkwood is a must-play hidden gem and one of Steam's most effective indie horror experiences. Return of the Obra Dinn is a one-of-a-kind mystery game that challenges players to think like real detectives. There's no hand-holding, just observation, deduction, and logic. You're tasked with investigating an abandoned ship and determining the fate of every crew member. Each discovery adds new layers to an already complex puzzle. The game's monochrome art style is instantly recognizable and serves both aesthetic and functional purposes. Every visual detail matters. Progression is entirely driven by your own conclusions, making every correct deduction deeply satisfying. It's rare for a game to trust the player this much. If you enjoy puzzles that respect your intelligence and reward careful thinking, Return of the Obra Dinn is the perfect way to end this list, a true hidden gem worth every penny. And there you have it. 20 hidden gems that prove the Steam Winter Sale isn't just about the biggest names. Whether you're into horror, strategy, RPGs, or experimental indies, there's something here worth discovering. Now we want to hear from you. What's the most underrated game in your Steam library? If you enjoyed the list, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who's always looking for their next great game. Next up, one you might have missed.
The Steam sale is packed with massive blockbusters. But let's be honest, the real treasures are the games most people scroll right past. Today, we're diving into 20 hidden gems on Steam that deserve way more attention than they get. From unforgettable indie adventures to wildly creative experiments, these games prove you don't need a huge budget to deliver a huge experience. So grab your wish list and let's uncover some of Steam's best-kept secrets. Inscryption starts as a roguelike deck builder, but quickly evolves into one of the most inventive games you'll play in years. At first glance, it's a dark card game played inside a mysterious cabin, but it soon peels back layer after layer of genre and narrative twists. The card system itself uses tactical placement on a grid where every turn counts, mixing deck building with risk and strategy. Each card represents something with attack and health values, and battles feel tense and rewarding. What truly sets Inscryption apart is how it constantly reinvents itself across acts, blending horror, puzzle, and meta-narrative elements into a cohesive yet unpredictable experience. The story unfolds through found footage, in-game secrets, and increasingly surreal twists that blur the line between game and reality. It's smart, spooky, and deeply engaging. If you're looking for a game that surprises you over and over, one that feels like a mystery and a puzzle wrapped in one, Inscryption is one of the best hidden gems you can play on Steam.
Echo is a stealth action game with a twist. Your enemies literally learn from your behavior. As you explore a mysterious palace, every blackout cycle makes Echo enemies mimic your own moves and strategies. The game's core mechanic, where ghosts of yourself adapt to how you attacked or sneaked, makes every decision meaningful. Do you sprint through rooms? The Echoes will sprint too. Prefer patience? They'll wait in the shadows like you once did. The palace setting feels atmospheric and haunting, with environments designed to challenge your wits as much as your reflexes. Early parts feel like a tense tutorial, but things escalate fast.
Although Echo didn't achieve broad commercial success, it earned respect for its ambition and clever stealth mechanics. Its concept, become your own worst enemy, is both literal and effective. If you enjoy stealth games where you outthink your foes instead of overpowering them, Echo delivers one of the most original stealth systems on Steam. Lone Sails is a poetic exploration adventure that strips gameplay down to essentials: movement, maintenance, and subtle storytelling. You're alone in a post-apocalyptic world, guiding a unique vehicle across dried-up oceans and deserted landscapes, forging your own path. The game places a heavy emphasis on atmosphere and emotion rather than combat or complex systems. It's more like piloting a fragile caravan through eerie silence, where every creak of metal and gust of wind tells part of the story. Mechanically, FAR encourages careful management of your vehicle's components, boosting to traverse difficult terrain, balancing fuel, and repairing broken parts. Your vehicle becomes like a companion on this journey. Visually, the game's minimalist design feels intentional, evoking a sense of solitude and calm rather than chaos. The backgrounds, lighting, and scale make each new stretch of terrain feel vast and evocative. If you love emotional, slow-burn experiences where atmosphere and quiet reflection are the stars of the show, FAR Lone Sails is a wonderful hidden gem that pays off big during a Steam sale. Neon White is a first-person action game that feels like a mashup between speedrunning and stylish shooters. It's built around level speed and precision, where the fastest players chain movements, weapons, and abilities to top leaderboards. In the game, you play as White, an assassin summoned from hell to compete in annual trials in heaven. Each demon you defeat gives you soul cards, which serve as both weapons and movement tools, and you can strategically discard them for boosts mid-run. The levels are designed around speedrunning mastery, with tight layouts and route optimization at the core of the experience. Whether you're going for a casual clear or chasing world record times, every run feels fresh. Visually and thematically, Neon White blends vibrant anime style with surreal heavenly landscapes and an evocative electronic soundtrack. The narrative also leans into personality and humor, enhancing its replayability. Critically acclaimed for its design and innovation, Neon White has earned praise for mixing shooter action with speed-centric, almost puzzle-like mechanics, making it an addictive hidden gem worth your Steam wishlist. Immortality is a truly unique interactive narrative game from acclaimed designer Sam Barlow, the creator of Her Story. Instead of traditional gameplay, the experience is built around exploring found footage from 3 unreleased films to unravel a deeper mystery. This non-linear storytelling is what makes it so compelling and different from almost anything else on Steam. The premise starts simply. An actress named Marissa Marcel appears in 3 movies that were never released and then vanished. Your job is to comb through film footage, interviews, and hidden clips to piece together what happened and what the films might be hiding. What sets Immortality apart is how it uses editing mechanics as the core gameplay. You rewind, slow motion, and move through clips to uncover clues and connections that aren't obvious at first glance. It feels more like solving a cinematic puzzle than playing a traditional game. The storytelling is impactful, mysterious, and emotionally layered. Critics praised the game's performances, especially by Man Engage, and its thought-provoking narrative structure. If you're tired of standard game mechanics and want an experience that feels like detective work with movies, Immortality is a fascinating and unforgettable choice, a hidden gem that turns media manipulation into gameplay. A Short Hike is the cozy adventure game that proves you don't need massive worlds or big budgets to tell a great story. The game drops you on Hawk Peak Provincial Park, where your goal is simple: reach the summit to get cell reception, but what you find along the way is pure joy. You control Claire, a small bird who can run, climb, swim, and glide through an open world filled with gentle side quests, hidden treasures, and friendly characters.
What makes a short hike special is its freedom and relaxed pacing. You're never rushed. You can help other hikers, explore secret nooks, or just enjoy the view. The game won the Seamus McNally Grand Prize at the 2020 Independent Games Festival, cementing its reputation as one of the most charming indie experiences of the decade. If you want a cozy break between heavier games or just something that feels like a warm hug, a short hike is a perfect hidden gem to go with your Steam sale haul.
Brigador is an intense, isometric action game where strategy and chaos collide in equal measure. You play as a mercenary pilot in a gritty, dystopian city called Solo Nobre, and your job is simple: cause maximum destruction with maximum style. The game mixes tactical decision-making with wild vehicular combat. You pick from a variety of armored vehicles and weapons, each offering a distinct way to approach missions, whether you want to tank through enemy lines or carefully snipe from afar. Brigador doesn't shy away from challenge. Missions can be tough and enemy AI unpredictable, but that's part of the fun. Learning the tools at your disposal and creating your own playstyle is deeply satisfying. Its synthwave soundtrack and industrial visuals bring a retro futuristic energy that complements the explosive gameplay, making every run feel like a 90s action movie. If you want a hidden gem that mixes tactical depth with unapologetic vehicular chaos and old-school vibes, Brigador is a standout indie worth adding to your Steam wishlist.
Hylics 2 is a surreal and psychedelic RPG that feels like a dream you can't quite remember, and that's absolutely intentional. This quirky indie blends turn-based combat with oddball world design, claymation-style visuals, and a soundtrack that feels like a trip through another dimension. The game's world is a bizarre collection of floating islands, odd characters, and unpredictable storytelling moments. There's no traditional plot you can easily summarize. Instead, you unravel the experience by exploring and absorbing its weird charm. Combat has the familiar structure of classic JRPGs, but the way it's presented and scored creates a truly distinctive experience. Battles are interspersed with visual surprises that keep both narrative and gameplay lively. The claymation art style is one of the game's biggest draws, giving everything a tactile, handcrafted vibe that stands out in the indie scene. Combined with a funky soundtrack, Hylics 2 feels like nothing else on Steam. If you want an RPG that breaks conventions and delivers pure personality over polish, Hylics 2 is a surreal hidden gem that's worth every minute.
Gloomwood is a first-person stealth survival horror game steeped in atmosphere, where patience and cunning are more powerful than brute force. Inspired by classics like Thief and Dishonored, it blends stealth, exploration, and survival into a gritty, immersive world that rewards clever play. The game's setting, a neo-Victorian Gothic city filled with unpredictable enemies and hidden paths, creates a tense mood right from the first mission. You're more often sneaking in the shadows than charging in with guns blazing. Combat is dangerous and resources are tight, making every encounter feel risky. Instead of run-and-gun action, Gloomwood encourages planning, careful movement, and distractions to avoid attracting hordes of foes. The briefcase inventory system and gramophone save points add to the survival feel, forcing you to think ahead about every item you carry and every move you make. If creepy stealth horror with old-school design and tactical decision-making is your style, Gloomwood is a must-check early access hidden gem that's only getting better. The Case of the Golden Idol is a brilliant detective puzzle game that challenges you to think like a sleuth rather than an action hero. It puts you in a series of frozen scenes where someone has died or something mysterious has happened, and your job is to piece together what occurred by collecting evidence. Rather than handing you solutions, the game makes you gather clues from each scenario's environment, looking at tiny details, examining objects, and building up a vocabulary of key words you can use to figure out the truth. Each case spans a unique moment in a decades-spanning narrative involving a golden idol and its impact on a shadowy, secretive world. What looks like a simple detective story quickly unfolds into political intrigue, layered storytelling, and satisfying puzzles. The pixel art presentation may look modest, but it's functional and evocative, letting you focus on deduction rather than high-fidelity graphics. Meanwhile, the satisfying puzzle design keeps you engaged from start to finish. If you love games that make you feel smart and reward careful observation, The Case of the Golden Idol is a top-tier hidden gem, one that stands proudly beside classics like Return of the Obra Dinn. In Sound Mind is a first-person psychological horror that uses surreal environments, unsettling puzzles, and eerie storytelling to immerse you in the mind of its protagonist. Rather than relying on cheap jump scares, the game blends hallucinations and twisted logic to keep you on edge. The story follows Desmond Wales, who explores bizarre locations inspired by the memories of patients affected by an experimental chemical, with each level reflecting a different fear or trauma. Gameplay combines atmospheric exploration with clever puzzle solving and unique boss fights. You'll confront bizarre enemies and unravel narrative threads that blur the line between reality and nightmare. The soundtrack, composed in part by the Living Tombstone, and inventive audio design heighten tension, creating an immersive horror experience that's both creative and memorable. If you're into psychological horror that mixes narrative depth with engaging mechanics, In Sound Mind is a standout indie that's absolutely worth a look, especially on sale.
Roadwarden is a surprisingly deep, text-based RPG that combines interactive fiction with role-playing mechanics. Instead of pure visuals, the game relies on rich prose, choice-driven storytelling, and occasional pixel art to pull you into its world. As the titular Roadwarden, you patrol secluded roads connecting human settlements, protect travelers from dangers, manage supplies, and deal with bandits, monsters, and mysteries. The choices you make during your journey shape how the world reacts to you and how your story unfolds. While it might look simple on the surface, Roadwarden uses complex dialogue trees, survival elements, and branching consequences to create a deeply personal adventure. Every NPC encounter feels meaningful, and each major choice can lead to wildly different outcomes. The text-driven presentation allows it to explore story beats at a depth few action titles can match, making it ideal for players who love narrative and imagination over flashy visuals. If you want an indie RPG that feels like reading and living a fantasy novel where your decisions matter, Roadwarden is a hidden gem worth picking up.
Bomb Rush Cyberfunk is an electric action platformer that feels like a love letter to jet set radio. You cruise through the fictional urban sprawl of New Amsterdam on skateboards, inline skates, or BMX bikes while tagging graffiti, pulling off tricks, and battling rival crews. The game's style, from its cel-shaded visuals to its funky soundtrack, including some tracks by Hideki Naganuma, immediately sells its vibrant, rebellious aesthetic. Gameplay centers on momentum and creativity. You gain reputation, or rep, by painting graffiti spots and performing combos, and as you rack up rep, rival crews and challenges unlock across the 5 boroughs of the city. Bomb Rush Cyberfunk was praised for its fun traversal and distinctive vibe, even though some critics noted it leans heavily on its inspirations rather than reinventing them. If you've been craving a stylish action experience that blends skating culture, music, and flow-based gameplay, Bomb Rush Cyberfunk is a funky hidden gem that feels great on sale. Slay the Princess is a narrative horror adventure that takes the classic damsel in distress trope and flips it on its head. Rather than rescuing a princess, your objective, as instructed by an eerie off-screen voice, is to kill her before she allegedly ends the world. What sets the game apart is its branching narrative and psychological twists. Decisions you make fundamentally change how the story unfolds, and the princess's personality and appearance shift in response to your choices. It's thoughtful, unsettling storytelling at its core. The visual style is hand-drawn with traditional pencil art, making every scene feel unique and expressive. Fully voice-acted dialogue helps immerse you in the bizarre and often disturbing atmosphere. Unlike typical horror games focused on combat or jump scares, Slay the Princess emphasizes dialogue, character relationships, and consequence. Every path feels drastically different, encouraging multiple playthroughs. If you love psychological horror with deep narrative hooks, unpredictable twists, and an unforgettable story experience, Slay the Princess is an indie standout that deserves way more attention.
Shadows of Doubt is a one-of-a-kind detective immersive sim that drops you into a fully simulated Noir city filled with procedurally generated citizens, crimes, and clues. Instead of scripted missions, the game creates an open world where every NPC has a job, schedule, and secrets, and any one of them could be involved in a case you're trying to solve. You play as a private investigator in this cyber-noir world, tackling murder cases and other mysteries however you see fit. You gather evidence, follow leads, and use deduction skills to unmask culprits, but you're also navigating a living city where choices have consequences. Unlike typical detective games with set outcomes, Shadows of Doubt's procedural generation ensures no two investigations play out the same. You might tail suspects, break into apartments to dig up clues, or hack computers for hidden data. The tools are yours, and the freedom is real. The voxel art style gives the world a distinctive look, combining retro visuals with an immersive dystopian atmosphere that's unique among indie titles. It's not just stylish, it helps you quickly scan environments for clues during investigations. If procedural detective sims sound like your kind of slow-burn mystery with tons of player agency and replay value, Shadows of Doubt is an ambitious hidden gem worth exploring.
Post Void is a lightning-fast first-person shooter built around pure momentum. The goal is simple: keep moving, keep killing, and don't stop. Standing still is the fastest way to die. Your health constantly drains, forcing you to play aggressively. Every enemy you defeat restores your life, creating a relentless risk-reward loop that keeps the pressure on at all times. There's no room for hesitation. The controls are tight and responsive, making movement feel fluid and precise. Levels are short and designed for repeated runs, encouraging mastery and speed rather than cautious play. Visually, Post Void is a psychedelic assault of color and distortion. The intense visuals perfectly match the game's frantic pace, creating an overwhelming but intentional experience. If you want a short, intense FPS that feels completely different from modern shooters, Post Void is a standout hidden gem that delivers pure adrenaline. Fear and Hunger is not an easy game, and it never pretends to be. This is a brutally unforgiving survival RPG designed to push players to their limits. From the start, it makes one thing clear: survival is never guaranteed. Set in a nightmarish dungeon, the game forces players to manage hunger, sanity, injuries, and scarce resources. Every action has consequences, and mistakes can quickly spiral into disaster. Death is frequent and often sudden. Combat is slow and strategic, allowing players to target specific body parts on enemies. This adds an extra layer of tension, as fights can leave lasting damage that carries forward. Sometimes avoiding combat is the smartest option. The horror comes from atmosphere and implication rather than jump scares. Its pixel art style somehow makes everything feel even more disturbing, letting your imagination fill in the gaps. If you're looking for a horror RPG that's bold, oppressive, and unforgettable, Fear and Hunger is a true hidden gem, but definitely not for the faint of heart.
Chants of Sennaar is a puzzle adventure that revolves entirely around language and communication. Instead of combat or traditional puzzles, the game challenges you to decipher written languages to progress. It's a clever concept executed with confidence. You explore a massive tower inhabited by different cultures, each with their own unique language. By observing symbols, patterns, and context, you slowly translate their words and phrases. Every breakthrough feels genuinely earned. The game never outright tells you if you're right or wrong, encouraging careful thought and experimentation. It trusts the player to make connections on their own, which makes success incredibly satisfying. Artistically, the game uses bold colors and stylized architecture inspired by ancient civilizations. Each area feels culturally distinct, reinforcing the idea that language shapes how people see the world. If you enjoy puzzle games that challenge your brain in fresh ways, Chants of Sennaar is a brilliant hidden gem that rewards patience and curiosity.
Pizza Tower is a high-energy 2D platformer that proudly wears its inspirations on its sleeve. Drawing heavy influence from the Wario Land series, it's fast, expressive, and completely unhinged in the best way possible. From the first level, it's clear this game is all about momentum. You play as Peppino, a stressed-out pizza chef sprinting through chaotic levels packed with enemies, secrets, and absurd animations. The goal isn't just to finish levels, it's to master them by moving fast and stylishly. Speed is constantly encouraged. The controls are incredibly tight, allowing players to chain moves together smoothly once they learn the mechanics. Levels are designed to be replayed, pushing you to shave seconds off your time and improve your performance. Visually, the hand-drawn art style is bursting with personality. Characters stretch, squash, and contort in exaggerated ways that sell every frantic moment. The humor is loud, confident, and never afraid to be weird. If you're looking for a platformer with attitude, creativity, and non-stop energy, Pizza Tower is a standout hidden gem that feels instantly iconic. Outer Wilds is one of those rare games that feels less like a traditional adventure and more like a personal journey of discovery. There are no quest markers, no skill trees, and no hand-holding, just a mysterious solar system waiting to be explored. From the moment you take off, curiosity becomes your greatest tool. The game places you in a 22-minute time loop where the universe resets again and again. Each loop gives you a little more knowledge about the planets, their strange physics, and the ancient civilization that once lived there. Progression isn't about leveling up, it's about learning. Every planet feels completely distinct, with its own hazards and rules. One world slowly fills with sand, another collapses into a black hole, and each loop changes what you can reach. It constantly encourages experimentation and rewards observation. Visually, Outer Wilds balances a cozy, almost handcrafted art style with moments of awe and existential dread. The soundtrack is subtle but powerful, perfectly underscoring the wonder and melancholy of space exploration. If you love games that trust your intelligence and reward curiosity, Outer Wilds is an unforgettable hidden gem and one of the most unique experiences you can grab during a Steam sale.
Those were 20 hidden gem games you can find on Steam right now. And if you're looking to stretch your wallet without sacrificing quality, you can't go wrong with any of them. Whether you're into deep storytelling, clever mechanics, or pure vibes, there's something here for every kind of player. Let us know in the comments which hidden gem you've already played, or which one you're adding to your wish list. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Another hidden gem worth checking out. Steam is packed with incredible games that barely get the spotlight they deserve. From emotional indies to unforgettable horror and story-driven experiences, these hidden gems prove you don't need a massive budget to make something special. If you're looking for your next favorite game, you're in the right place. Let's dive into some of the best hidden gems you can find on Steam. Unpacking is a cozy puzzle game about unpacking boxes and placing items in new living spaces. There's no dialogue, but a story unfolds through the objects you place. Each level represents a different stage in the character's life, letting you piece together their journey through subtle environmental storytelling. The gameplay is relaxing and intuitive, turning simple organization into something deeply satisfying. It's low stress and highly immersive. The pixel art is warm and charming, making every room feel lived in and personal. Sound design adds to the calming atmosphere. If you enjoy quiet, thoughtful games that tell stories without words, Unpacking is a perfect hidden gem. Before Your Eyes is an emotional narrative game controlled by your real-life blinking. Using a webcam, the game advances the story every time you blink. You relive moments from a character's life, often skipping forward unintentionally, just like memories fading over time. It's a simple idea with powerful emotional impact.
Gameplay is minimal, allowing the story and concept to take center stage. The experience is short but incredibly personal. The writing and voice acting elevate the story, delivering moments that are genuinely heartfelt and memorable. Before Your Eyes is ideal for players looking for a unique emotional experience that experiments with how stories are told in games. Heaven's Vault is a narrative adventure focused on archaeology, language, and discovery. You play as an archaeologist uncovering the secrets of an ancient civilization. The core mechanic revolves around translating a forgotten language by piecing together symbols and meanings. Your interpretations directly influence the story. Exploration takes place across floating rivers of space, giving the game a calm, contemplative pace. The journey itself feels just as important as the destination. The art style is minimalist but striking, emphasizing atmosphere over detail. Combined with strong writing, it creates a thoughtful experience. If you enjoy games that reward curiosity and critical thinking, Heaven's Vault is a truly underrated gem. Hypnospace Outlaw is a unique adventure game set inside a fictional 1990s internet. You play as an internet enforcer tasked with moderating websites while surfing through retro chaos. The game perfectly captures the look and feel of old-school web pages, complete with MIDI music, pop-ups, and questionable design choices. Nostalgia is a huge part of the appeal. Your job involves investigating user reports, finding rule violations, and navigating countless bizarre websites. It's part detective work, part time capsule. As the story unfolds, the world of Hypnospace becomes more complex and surprisingly emotional. There's a lot more beneath the surface than you might expect. Hypnospace Outlaw is perfect for players who enjoy clever satire, exploration, and unconventional storytelling. The Mortuary Assistant is a first-person horror game that turns a routine job into a slow-burning nightmare. You play as a newly licensed mortician tasked with embalming bodies during late-night shifts. What makes the horror so effective is how subtle it is. Supernatural events happen unpredictably, keeping you constantly on edge as you focus on everyday tasks. Gameplay revolves around following embalming procedures, which grounds the experience in realism. This makes every unsettling moment hit even harder. The game uses randomization to ensure scares don't repeat the same way twice. No two playthroughs feel exactly alike. If you love psychological horror that builds dread instead of relying on jump scares, the Mortuary Assistant is a standout hidden gem. Disco Elysium is a narrative-driven RPG that puts dialogue and choice front and center. You play as a detective solving a murder while struggling with your own fractured identity. Instead of traditional combat, the game uses skill checks and conversations to resolve conflicts. Your thoughts, emotions, and personality traits are characters in their own right. The writing is sharp, philosophical, and often darkly funny, tackling politics, morality, and personal failure. Every decision feels meaningful. Its painterly art style and detailed environments give the world a gritty, lived-in feel. The city feels broken, complex, and deeply human. If you want an RPG that challenges how stories are told in games, Disco Elysium is an essential hidden gem that deserves its acclaim. Gris is a visually stunning platformer that tells an emotional story without using words. You guide a young woman through a world that slowly regains color as she heals. Gameplay is simple and approachable, focusing on light platforming and environmental puzzles. There's no combat, allowing the experience to feel calm and introspective. The art direction is breathtaking, with hand-painted visuals that look like a moving watercolor painting. Every scene feels carefully crafted. Music plays a key role in setting the emotional tone, evolving as the story progresses. It enhances the sense of loss, growth, and recovery. Gris is perfect for players who appreciate games as art, offering a short but powerful experience that resonates emotionally.
Everhood is a rhythm-based RPG that twists expectations from the moment you start playing. Instead of attacking enemies, you dodge their musical attacks in rhythm-based battles. The game is heavily inspired by classic indie RPGs, but quickly becomes something far stranger. Its story is abstract, emotional, and full of unexpected turns. Battles are fast-paced and intense, demanding focus and timing as you weave between incoming notes. The soundtrack plays a huge role in making each fight memorable. Everhood's pixel art is colorful and expressive, matching the game's surreal tone. Characters are quirky, unsettling, and oddly charming. If you like games that experiment with storytelling and mechanics, Everhood is a bold hidden gem that sticks with you long after you finish it.
Memories of Old is a peaceful exploration game built around the joy of flight. You play as a shapeshifter who can transform into a bird and freely soar across floating islands in the sky. There's no combat here. The focus is purely on exploration, discovery, and environmental puzzles. You're encouraged to move at your own pace and simply enjoy the world. Flying feels incredibly smooth and liberating, making traversal the highlight of the experience. Gliding between islands never gets old. The minimalist art style and calming soundtrack work together to create a relaxing, almost meditative mood. It's the kind of game you play to unwind. If you're looking for a short, serene experience that prioritizes freedom and atmosphere, AER is an underrated gem worth picking up.
Cloudpunk is a narrative-driven exploration game set in a sprawling cyberpunk city that never sleeps. You play as Rania, a courier making deliveries in a flying car while navigating the neon-lit streets of Nivalis. The gameplay focuses on exploration, dialogue choices, and story rather than combat. As you deliver packages, you slowly uncover the lives, struggles, and secrets of the city's residents. Visually, Cloudpunk uses a voxel-based art style that gives the city a unique, stylized look. Rain-soaked streets, glowing signs, and towering skyscrapers create a moody cyberpunk atmosphere. The writing is one of the game's strongest elements, tackling themes like corporate control, inequality, and what it means to be human. Conversations often feel personal and surprisingly heartfelt. If you enjoy story-driven games with rich world-building and chill vibes, Cloudpunk is a hidden gem that's perfect for players who want to soak in atmosphere.
Observer System Redux is a cyberpunk psychological horror game set in a decaying future city. You play as a neural detective who can hack directly into people's minds to uncover the truth. The game leans heavily into atmosphere, mixing neon-soaked visuals with disturbing psychological imagery. It's less about combat and more about immersion and tension. Mind-hacking sequences are surreal and unsettling, often blurring the line between reality and nightmare. Each investigation feels deeply personal and disturbing. The upgraded System Redux version improves visuals, performance, and gameplay quality of life features. It's the best way to experience the game today. If you enjoy story-driven horror with strong cyberpunk vibes, Observer is an underrated experience worth diving into.
Backpack Hero is a roguelike with a clever twist. Inventory management is the gameplay. It's not just about what items you have, but where you place them in your backpack. Each item interacts differently based on its position, encouraging strategic layouts and constant experimentation. A good backpack arrangement can completely change your run. The game is colorful, charming, and surprisingly deep despite its simple concept. Runs feel quick, but mastering the systems takes time. As you progress, you unlock new characters, items, and mechanics that keep things fresh. The learning curve feels rewarding rather than punishing. Backpack Hero is proof that a small idea executed well can turn into an incredibly addictive hidden gem.
Weird West blends classic twin-stick action with immersive sim design in a supernatural Wild West setting. You control multiple protagonists across interconnected stories filled with strange magic and moral choices. The world reacts to your actions in meaningful ways. Towns remember what you do, characters respond dynamically, and situations can spiral in unexpected directions. Creativity is always rewarded. Combat allows for experimentation, letting you use the environment, abilities, and even physics to your advantage. There's rarely a single right way to solve a problem. Its stylized art direction and eerie tone give the frontier a unique identity that feels both familiar and unsettling. Every location feels handcrafted and reactive. If you love games that let you shape the world through your choices, Weird West is a hidden gem that offers surprising depth. Iron Lung is a short but unforgettable horror experience set entirely inside a rusted submarine. You're tasked with navigating an ocean of blood on an alien moon, and you never see what's outside directly. Instead of a window, you rely on grainy cameras, vague sonar, and unsettling audio cues. This limited perspective creates constant tension and dread, with almost no jump scares. Gameplay focuses on navigation, reading instruments, and managing pressure while something unknown lurks beyond your view. Every sound makes you second-guess your next move. The game's lo-fi visuals and sound design are intentionally uncomfortable, making the experience feel claustrophobic and oppressive. It proves horror doesn't need fancy graphics to be effective. Iron Lung is perfect for players who want a focused, atmospheric horror gem that sticks with you long after it ends. Ex-Anima is a dark, physics-driven action RPG set in a haunting underground world that feels hostile from the moment you step inside. Instead of traditional button-mashing combat, every swing, shove, and stumble is fully physics-based. Combat is slow, deliberate, and incredibly tense, forcing you to think about positioning, momentum, and terrain. Even a single enemy can be dangerous if you get careless, which makes every victory feel earned. The game has minimal handholding, encouraging exploration and experimentation. There are no quest markers guiding you. You learn the world by surviving it. Visually, Ex-Anima leans into moody lighting and grim environments that amplify its oppressive atmosphere. The dungeon-like spaces feel unpredictable and genuinely threatening. If you're looking for something that feels truly different from typical action RPGs, Ex-Anima is a standout hidden gem that rewards patience and curiosity. Tunic is an adventure game that wears its inspirations proudly, but builds its own identity through exploration and mystery. You control a small fox in a big world filled with ruins, secrets, and dangers that hark back to classic action-adventure games. The combat is fun and satisfying, with blows, dodges, and strategic movement playing into every encounter. It doesn't talk much. Instead, the story unfolds through environmental storytelling and puzzles woven into every corner of the world. What makes Tunic especially memorable is its manual mechanic, in-game clue books that mimic real manuals, rewarding players who piece together glyphs and secrets on their own. Critics praised Tunic for blending familiar gameplay with innovative twists and aesthetic charm. It's frequently listed among the best indie games of its release year for good reason. If you love exploration, discovery, and figuring out mechanics as you go, Tunic is a delightful indie adventure well worth snagging on sale. Night in the Woods is a narrative-driven adventure that blends heartfelt coming-of-age themes with surreal mystery. You play as May Borowski, a college dropout returning to her small hometown, only to find that things have changed, and maybe changed too much. The game's dialogue and world are deeply character-focused, pulling you into conversations with old friends and townsfolk who are dealing with their own struggles. It's equal parts funny, thoughtful, and sometimes painfully real. It's not just emotional storytelling, though. The game also has underlying mysteries that you and your friends explore, sometimes leading to eerie, puzzling moments that contrast with the quieter parts of life. Night in the Woods received critical acclaim for its writing, characters, and atmosphere, earning high scores and awards for how it handles real human issues with empathy and nuance.
If you want a game that feels like a story you live through rather than just play, Night in the Woods is an incredible hidden gem that deserves more eyes. Katana Zero is a fast-paced 2D action platformer with slick, stylish combat and a hard-hitting narrative. You play as a time-manipulating assassin who slices through levels with speed and precision, using a katana, dodging attacks, and slinging items to clear rooms. One of the game's defining mechanics is the ability to slow time and predict enemy movements, effectively letting you plan each frame of action before executing it. It's both tactical and extremely satisfying. Each level plays like a puzzle in motion, with perfect runs demanding swift reflexes and smart improvisation. Whether you glide through rooms or get knocked back to retry, the pacing remains tense and exhilarating. Narratively, Katana Zero blends neo-Norse storytelling with a surreal twist. You unravel your character's past through interactions with shady fixers, psychologists, and mysterious figures, all while piecing together who you really are. Visually stylish and narratively compelling, Katana Zero feels like an indie action classic, perfect for players who love quick reflexes, tight design, and a story that sticks with you.
Mundown is a first-person horror adventure set on a mysterious, snow-covered village that feels straight out of folklore. Its standout feature is the hand-drawn visual style. Every environment is sketched in pencil textures that make the world feel eerie and surreal. You play as a man returning to the village of Mundown after his grandfather's mysterious death. What begins as a personal trip quickly unfolds into a chilling journey filled with dark secrets, cryptic puzzles, and unsettling encounters. Puzzle solving is at the heart of exploration, often requiring you to use items in creative ways or piece together clues you find scattered throughout the village and surrounding wilderness. Enemies and tension recur throughout the experience, but Mundown lets you choose stealth and avoidance as much as confrontation, giving you flexibility in how you approach danger. If atmospheric horror with a striking, one-of-a-kind art style sounds good to you, Mundown is a deeply memorable indie game that'll stick with you long after the credits roll.
Pentiment is a story-driven adventure RPG from Obsidian Entertainment that feels like a medieval mystery novel come to life. You follow Andreas Mahler, a journeyman painter in 16th century Bavaria, as he gets pulled into a series of intertwined murder mysteries throughout a turbulent era. The game blends investigation mechanics with rich narrative choices that shape how the story unfolds. What immediately sets Pentiment apart is its visual style. The art looks like illuminated manuscripts and historical documents, which gives the world a beautiful and authentic feel that you won't see in many modern RPGs. It's part visual storytelling and part historical exploration. Gameplay revolves around dialogue trees, investigation, and gathering clues, much like an interactive novel. You'll often decide how conversations go, who you trust, and ultimately who gets accused, meaning your choices can have serious social consequences. The setting, a fictional alpine town and a nearby abbey, feels alive, full of characters with motives, histories, and secrets. Pentiment doesn't rely on combat, letting you focus on intrigue, community dynamics, and the weight of each choice you make. If you're tired of generic RPG tropes and want a narrative experience that feels like you're living a history book, Pentiment is a standout hidden gem that deserves more attention. And those are our picks for some Steam's best hidden gems you might have missed. If you found a new game to add to your wishlist, be sure to drop a like and let us know your favorites in the comments. There are tons of amazing games hiding just beneath the surface, and this list is only scratching the surface. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Let's keep it moving.
Steam's winter sale is packed with massive discounts, but some of the best games aren't sitting at the top of the charts. Hidden beneath the big releases are creative, stylish, and surprisingly unforgettable experiences just waiting to be discovered. From tense horror and fast-paced action to cozy adventures and clever indie twists, these are the games that deserve a second look. Today, we're counting down 20 Steam Winter Sale hidden gems you absolutely shouldn't miss.
Stella Pastoris is one of the most unusual and experimental titles on this list, blending strategy, exploration, and abstract storytelling into something truly different. You're placed in a strange, cosmic setting where traditional rules don't always apply. Instead of constant action, the game encourages observation and interpretation. It's slow, thoughtful, and intentionally mysterious. Gameplay leans towards systems management and discovery rather than combat. Players interact with strange entities, manage limited resources, and uncover meaning through experimentation. The lack of hand-holding is deliberate, rewarding curiosity and patience. It's a game that trusts its audience. Visually, Stella Pastoris embraces a minimalist, otherworldly aesthetic. Simple shapes, muted colors, and surreal imagery create a haunting atmosphere. Sound design reinforces that sense of isolation and wonder. Everything works together to make the experience feel alien yet compelling. This isn't a game for everyone, and that's exactly why it's a hidden gem. Players who enjoy experimental indie games often find it deeply rewarding. It invites interpretation rather than explanation. As a winter sale pickup, Stella Pastoris is perfect for players looking to step outside traditional genres and experience something genuinely unique.
Ex-Zodiac is a love letter to classic arcade rail shooters, clearly inspired by titles like Star Fox and Space Harrier. From the moment you take off, it delivers fast-paced aerial combat with tight controls and relentless enemy waves. It's colorful, intense, and unapologetically old school. Arcade fans will feel at home. Gameplay focuses on dodging, aiming, and reacting at high speed. Enemies swarm from every direction, forcing constant movement and sharp reflexes. Levels are short but packed with action, making the game ideal for quick adrenaline-fueled sessions. It never wastes your time. Visually, the game uses a low-poly aesthetic that enhances its retro arcade feel. Bright effects and smooth animations keep everything readable even during chaotic moments. The soundtrack complements the action perfectly, driving momentum forward. It feels like stepping into a lost arcade cabinet. What makes Ex-Zodiac special is its commitment to pure arcade design. There's no filler, just skill, speed, and spectacle. Mastery comes from repetition and improvement rather than grinding upgrades. During the Steam Winter Sale, this is an easy recommendation for players who miss fast, focused arcade experiences that challenge reflexes and reward skill. Treachery in Beatdown City is a brilliant throwback to classic beat-em-ups, but with a smart, turn-based tactical twist that makes it stand out immediately. Instead of button mashing through enemies, players choose actions carefully, managing stamina and positioning to survive encounters. It's part brawler, part strategy game, and entirely memorable. The result feels fresh, even if you think you've seen it all before. The game's pixel art style perfectly captures retro vibes while delivering expressive animations and colorful characters. Each playable fighter brings unique abilities, encouraging experimentation and different approaches to combat. The pacing keeps fights tense without dragging on. Every decision feels important. One of the biggest highlights is the game's writing and tone. The story mixes humor, satire, and social commentary in a way that feels clever rather than heavy-handed. Dialogue is sharp, often funny, and packed with personality. It's the kind of game that makes you smile between fights. Players often praise how accessible the mechanics are, while still offering depth. It's easy to learn, but surprisingly strategic once you dig in. That balance makes it appealing to both casual players and tactics fans. Few games blend genres this smoothly.
As a winter sale hidden gem, Treachery in Beatdown City is perfect for players who want nostalgia with brains, a retro game that actually pushes the genre forward.
Vivid Loop is a vibrant arcade puzzle game that combines maze navigation, color mechanics, and rhythmic movement into something truly unique. Players guide a glowing creature through shifting pathways, changing colors to match obstacles and solve puzzles. It's visually striking and immediately engaging. The concept is simple, but the execution is clever. Each level introduces new twists, gradually increasing complexity without overwhelming the player. Timing, positioning, and color awareness all come into play, keeping gameplay dynamic. The learning curve is smooth, making it accessible while still offering challenge. It's easy to understand and hard to master. Visually, the game is a standout. Neon colors, sharp geometry, and fluid animations give it a hypnotic arcade feel. The aesthetic pairs beautifully with its energetic soundtrack, creating a satisfying sensory experience. Every level feels like a small performance. What really elevates Vivid Loop is how relaxing and intense it can be at the same time. It encourages focus without stress, making it great for short sessions or extended play. Puzzle fans and arcade fans alike will find something to love here. On sale, Vivid Loop is an excellent hidden gem for players looking for something stylish, creative, and refreshingly different from typical puzzle games.
Icongrow is a clever and fast-paced twin-stick shooter that thrives on chaotic action and clever design. The game throws you into arena-style combat where positioning and awareness matter just as much as raw reflexes. Enemies swarm from all directions, forcing constant movement. It's intense from start to finish. What keeps the gameplay fresh is the variety of weapons, modifiers, and enemy behaviors. Each run feels slightly different, pushing players to adapt on the fly. The difficulty ramps up quickly, but success always feels earned. It's the kind of game that rewards mastery. The visual style is minimalist yet effective, keeping the focus on clarity and speed. Bright effects contrast against darker backgrounds, making threats easy to track even during chaos. Sound design adds punch to every shot and explosion. It's clean, readable, and satisfying. Fans of arcade-style shooters appreciate how Icongrow respects their time. Sessions are quick, replayable, and endlessly engaging. It's easy to boot up for one run and lose track of time. As a winter sale hidden gem, Icongrow is perfect for players who want pure action with depth and replay value packed into a compact experience.
Copper Odyssey 2 takes you on a surreal JRPG-style adventure through a museum where art has come to life, and not always in friendly ways. You step into the shoes of Celeste, an angel tasked with restoring color and purpose to 30 blank canvases scattered around the museum, advancing the story through exploration and creative world design. Copper Odyssey 2 blends press-turn JRPG combat and narrative exploration, letting you encounter quirky and unexpected enemies inspired by fine art. These living artworks want to drag you into their own strange studios, forcing strategic decisions in battle. The game's aesthetic leans into quirky fantasy with a lighthearted tone that still feels mysterious and artistic. Its world encourages players to tackle objectives in a non-linear order, making each playthrough feel a little different. Players have appreciated its adventure and RPG elements, from interacting with curious NPCs to uncovering side stories hidden in every gallery and hallway. The sense of discovery is strong, rooted in atmospheric exploration as much as combat. At its heart, Copper Odyssey 2 is about creativity, curiosity, and the joy of unraveling a strange, art-filled world, an underrated experience worth checking out during the winter sale.
Hyperbeat is a stylish rhythm action game that blends music, movement, and reflex-based gameplay into a fast, neon-soaked experience. Every action is synced to the beat, encouraging players to move, dodge, and attack in rhythm. It's flashy, intense, and instantly energizing. From the first track, the game demands your full attention. The core loop is simple but addictive. Stay on beat, react quickly, and keep the flow going. As levels progress, patterns become more complex, pushing your timing and coordination to the limit. Success feels incredible, especially when everything clicks perfectly. Failure, meanwhile, only makes you want to jump back in.
Visually, Hyperbeat pops with bold colors, clean effects, and smooth animations. The presentation keeps things readable even at high speeds, which is crucial for a rhythm-focused game. Combined with its driving soundtrack, the game creates a strong sense of momentum. It feels like playing inside a music video. Players who enjoy games like Thumper or rhythm-infused action titles will feel right at home here. The challenge curve rewards practice without becoming frustrating. Each run helps you improve naturally through repetition. On sale, Hyperbeat is a fantastic pickup for players craving something fast, stylish, and skill-driven, a perfect palate cleanser between longer games.
House of Necrosis is a chilling indie horror experience that leans heavily into atmosphere and psychological tension rather than non-stop scares. Set inside a decaying, hostile structure, the game slowly unravels its mysteries through exploration and unsettling environmental storytelling. From the moment you step inside, there's a constant feeling that something is watching you. It's quiet, eerie, and deeply uncomfortable in the best way. Gameplay focuses on careful movement and observation, rewarding players who take their time and pay attention to subtle details. The house itself feels alive, shifting moods and revealing new horrors as you progress. Instead of overwhelming you with enemies, the game uses restraint to keep tension high. Every creak and shadow feels deliberate. Visually, the game embraces a grim, lo-fi aesthetic that enhances its oppressive tone. Lighting plays a major role, turning familiar rooms into sources of fear. Sound design does much of the heavy lifting, making silence just as terrifying as sudden noise. It's a headphone-recommended experience. What makes House of Necrosis stand out is its pacing and confidence. It doesn't rush to scare you, it lets dread sink in naturally. Players who enjoy slow-burn horror will appreciate how much trust the game puts in the player's imagination. As a Steam Winter Sale pick, this is an excellent hidden gem for horror fans who want something unsettling, focused, and memorable without a massive time commitment.
Rebel Engine is a fast-paced action roguelite that emphasizes momentum, reflexes, and constant forward motion. The game throws you into compact arenas filled with enemies, encouraging aggressive play and smart positioning. Each run feels intense and focused, making it perfect for short but satisfying sessions. It's easy to pick up, but tough to master. Combat is the star here, blending melee and ranged attacks with fluid movement. As you progress, you unlock new abilities and upgrades that dramatically change how each run plays out. The roguelite structure ensures no two attempts feel exactly the same. Failure feels like a lesson, not a punishment. The visual style is clean and energetic, keeping the action readable even when things get hectic. Effects are punchy without being overwhelming, which helps maintain clarity during intense fights. Sound design adds weight to every hit, making combat feel impactful. Players who enjoy skill-based action games often praise Rebel Engine for its tight controls and satisfying difficulty curve. It rewards improvement and experimentation, encouraging you to refine your playstyle over time. That sense of mastery is incredibly addictive. During the Steam Winter Sale, Rebel Engine is an easy recommendation for players who want adrenaline-pumping gameplay in a compact, replayable package.
Kingdoms of the Dump is a quirky, retro-inspired RPG set in a post-apocalyptic world built entirely from trash. It combines classic turn-based combat with humor, charm, and surprisingly thoughtful writing. The game's lo-fi aesthetic hides a surprisingly deep experience underneath. It's weird, funny, and heartfelt all at once. Gameplay sticks to familiar RPG systems, but mixes them with clever twists and unique abilities. Battles are strategic without being overwhelming, making the game accessible to newcomers while still engaging for genre veterans. Exploration rewards curiosity, with side quests and hidden interactions scattered throughout the world. It constantly encourages you to poke around. The writing is one of the game's biggest strengths. Characters are memorable, dialogue is sharp, and the world feels lived in despite its absurd premise. The humor often masks deeper themes, giving the story more emotional weight than you might expect. It's the kind of game that sneaks up on you.
Visually, the pixel art is detailed and expressive, perfectly matching the game's offbeat tone. The soundtrack reinforces the sense of adventure while keeping things lighthearted. Everything works together to create a cohesive, charming experience. As a winter sale hidden gem, Kingdoms of the Dump is ideal for RPG fans looking for something creative, funny, and refreshingly different.
Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo is one of the most inventive indie action-adventure games you'll find hiding on Steam. You play as Pipit, a young bat navigating a vibrant city while wielding a yo-yo as both a weapon and traversal tool. The game blends top-down exploration with clever physics-based mechanics that constantly surprise you. From the very first moments, it feels fresh and playful. The yo-yo isn't just a gimmick, it's central to everything you do. Combat, puzzles, and movement all revolve around mastering its momentum and interactions with the environment. This creates a learning curve that's rewarding rather than frustrating. As you unlock upgrades, the game opens up in exciting new ways. Visually, the game pops with colorful pixel art and expressive animations. The city feels alive, filled with characters, secrets, and optional challenges. It captures that classic adventure game charm while still feeling modern and inventive. The soundtrack complements the energy perfectly. Players have praised the game for its tight controls and creative level design. Each new area introduces fresh ideas without overwhelming the player. It's approachable but still deep enough to keep experienced players engaged. On sale, Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo is a standout hidden gem that rewards creativity, experimentation, and curiosity, a perfect fit for adventurous Steam shoppers. Look Outside is a short, unsettling indie horror experience that thrives on mood and suggestion rather than jump scares. The game places you in an eerie setting where the simple act of looking outside becomes a source of constant unease. It's minimalist in design, but that restraint is exactly what makes it effective. Sometimes what you don't see is far scarier than what you do. Gameplay is intentionally simple, focusing on interaction and observation rather than complex mechanics. The horror comes from subtle changes in the environment and the growing feeling that something isn't quite right. Players often praise the game for how it builds tension without relying on loud noises or cheap tricks. It respects your imagination and then weaponizes it. The visual style is understated, using lighting and framing to guide your attention. Small details become incredibly important, encouraging players to stay alert and curious. It's the kind of game that's perfect for late-night sessions with headphones on. Short playtime means it never overstays its welcome. What really makes Look Outside memorable is how much it sticks with you after you finish it. Even when nothing is happening, you're constantly waiting for something to go wrong. That psychological pressure is where the game truly shines. As a winter sale pickup, this is a fantastic choice if you're looking for a quick, impactful horror experience that proves you don't need a big budget to scare players.
Labyrinth of the Demon King is a brutal, old-school first-person dungeon crawler that feels like it crawled straight out of a lost PC 98 or early PlayStation era. Set in a dark, feudal-inspired world, the game drops you into a cursed labyrinth filled with grotesque enemies and constant tension. Its low-poly visuals and oppressive atmosphere are very intentional, amplifying the horror and sense of danger. This is a game that wants you to feel uncomfortable, and it succeeds. Combat is slow, deliberate, and punishing, forcing players to carefully manage stamina, spacing, and timing. Every encounter feels risky, and mistakes are costly, which gives victories a real sense of accomplishment. Fans of classic survival horror and dungeon crawlers have praised its commitment to challenge over handholding. It's not for everyone, but for the right audience, it's incredibly rewarding. Exploration plays a huge role, with hidden paths, traps, and cryptic level layouts that demand attention. The labyrinth itself feels like an enemy, constantly testing your patience and awareness. There's a strong sense of dread as you push deeper, never knowing what's waiting around the next corner. That tension is the game's biggest strength. What makes this a hidden gem is how confidently it commits to its vision. It doesn't modernize its design to appeal to everyone, and that authenticity has earned it a cult following. Players who enjoy Kingsfield-style experiences will feel right at home here. During the Steam Winter Sale, Labyrinth of the Demon King becomes an easy recommendation for hardcore players looking for something intense, atmospheric, and unapologetically old school.
Absalom is an exhilarating roguelite beat-em-up that sneaks its way onto best hidden gems lists because it packs high-intensity combat and replayability into a compact indie package. Players dive into frenetic fights, build powerful loadouts, and dash through stages filled with menace and style. What sets Absalom apart is its quick-paced progression loop. Each run feels visceral and rewarding, with new abilities and weapons unlocking to keep every attempt fresh. Fans have praised its tight controls and satisfying skill ceiling, even if the game hasn't shot to mainstream fame. The mix of roguelite randomness with skill-based action gives it a can't-put-down feel, especially when discounted. Whether you're a beat-em-up veteran or just enjoy high-energy combat, Absalom delivers bite-sized thrills perfect for quick Steam sessions. Add it to your list if you want intense action that rewards mastery without the heavy price tag.
Eclipsium is one of those atmospheric, stylish indie titles that often flies under the Steam radar, but sticks with players long after the credits. It's been featured on hidden gem lists for its unique tone and world, offering an experience that blends surreal settings with immersive exploration. The game doesn't rely on flashy graphics or huge budgets. Instead, it focuses on texture, mood, and narrative beats that make each area feel rich and worth exploring. Players who enjoy narrative-driven indie games have praised Eclipsium for its depth, environmental storytelling, and surprising emotional moments. Combat and encounters here aren't the main focus. It's more about feeling the atmosphere, uncovering lore, and immersing yourself in its beautifully crafted world. As a winter sale pick, it's perfect for players who want something different from the high-octane mainstream, quiet, mysterious, and profoundly memorable. If you're craving mood and ambiance in your Steam library, Eclipsium should definitely be on your wishlist.
While The Girl from Arcania isn't as high-profile as AAA action titles, it's been turning heads as an action-adventure RPG with charming visuals and engaging combat. Listed on Hidden Gems roundups highlighting under-the-radar 2025 Steam releases, Arcania blends medieval fantasy with exploration and storytelling hooks that appeal to fans of indie action RPGs. Players take control of a young hero traveling through fantastical landscapes full of secrets, dungeons, and quirky characters, an experience reminiscent of classic RPG adventure vibes. Though detailed mechanics are more niche and community-driven than mainstream, fans appreciate the game's mix of exploration, loot-based progression, and accessible combat. It's a smaller title that doesn't grab headlines, but that's part of the appeal. The Girl from Arcania feels like a personalized adventure, tailored for discovery. During the winter sale, this kind of gem is perfect for players craving a blend of action and story without diving into massive RPG commitments. Give it a shot if you love finding indie RPGs with heart and style tucked between the big names. If you're into cozy crafting sims with a twist, The Last Craftsman is a hidden gem worth your wishlist this winter sale. Set in the town of Gear Springs, you're the newest craftsman tasked with helping the community by gathering materials, crafting items, and interacting with villagers in fun and engaging ways. This game isn't just about farming and crafting. The component-based crafting system lets you use different parts tagged by traits to make everything from furniture to tools, creating a satisfying loop of discovery and creativity. There's also a playful card battle mechanic tucked under the surface, where battles in the ruins below town bring RPG-flavored encounters to spice up your daily routine. Reviews on Steam show overwhelmingly positive feedback from the small but passionate community, and the adorable pixel art and calming soundtrack give it that perfect indie chill. Developer updates have added story, quests, and depth over time, and the post-early access release solidifies it as a full experience for players who love life sims with personality.
At a steep winter sale discount, this one's ideal for players who enjoy building, crafting, and engaging worlds that feel alive even when the pace is gentle. Winter Burrow welcomes you into a cozy woodland survival and exploration adventure where you play as a small mouse returning to your childhood home in this snow-covered wilderness. Your burrow has fallen into ruins, and your mission is to gather supplies, rebuild, and uncover the mysteries of the forest as you go. The game blends peaceful gameplay with light survival mechanics, and it's designed to play at your pace. No rush, just exploration. Right from the Steam page, you can see players embrace the game for its relaxing vibe and charming premise, from knitting warm sweaters to baking pies and meeting friendly NPCs along the way. Unlike survival games that lean into combat, Winter Burrow focuses on resource gathering, crafting, and home building, crafting everything from tools to decor that make your burrow feel like home. The game also encourages exploration across snowy forests and hidden caves, with seasonal changes and dynamic weather adding atmosphere to your adventure. Customization is key. Decorate your burrow, tailor your journey, and make choices that suit your playstyle, whether you're a meticulous planner or a happy wanderer. On sale during the winter sale, Winter Burrow is perfect for players who want a soothing, story-rich experience without pressure, and it's earned a strong community reception for good reason.
Buckshot Roulette is one of those indie games that proves a simple idea can be absolutely unforgettable when executed right. Developed by Mike Klubnica, the game reimagines Russian roulette as a tense, psychological mind game using a shotgun instead of a revolver. You face off against a mysterious dealer in a grim, underground setting where every choice matters. It's minimal, stylish, and instantly gripping. What sets Buckshot Roulette apart is how it blends luck with strategy. You're not just pulling the trigger and hoping for the best. You're given limited information about the shells in the chamber and tools that let you manipulate the odds. This creates a constant push and pull between risk and control. Every round feels like a puzzle where one wrong move can end everything. The atmosphere does a ton of heavy lifting. The visuals are gritty and stripped down, the sound design is oppressive, and the dealer's presence adds a layer of psychological pressure that never lets up. Even when nothing is happening, the tension is palpable. It's the kind of game that makes silence feel loud. Despite its short playtime, Buckshot Roulette has strong replay value. Multiple modes, escalating difficulty, and optional multiplayer keep things fresh. Steam players have praised how quickly it pulls you in and how hard it is to stop after just one more round. It's perfect for quick sessions or streaming reactions. During the Steam Winter Sale, Buckshot Roulette is a must-grab hidden gem. It's cheap, unforgettable, and unlike almost anything else on the platform. If you're looking for a game that delivers pure tension in a tight, creative package, this one absolutely deserves a spot on your list. Pseudo Regalia is one of the breakout indie gems you might have missed in the chaos of Steam's winter sale, and that's a shame because it's one of the most thrilling 3D platformers of recent years. Developed by indie creator Ritzler, this game blends fluid Metroidvania exploration with PS1-era low-polygon aesthetics, giving it nostalgia with a modern twist. What makes Pseudo Regalia shine is its movement and level design. Players control Sable, an anthropomorphic goat-like adventurer trapped in the mysterious Castle Sansa in a world that feels like a dream. The emphasis on smooth parkour-like traversal and open-ended paths has earned praise from both critics and players alike. Despite its relative simplicity, the game packs a punch with tightly tuned controls that make jumping, gliding, and exploring feel satisfying on every run. Reviewers have described its responsiveness as super slick and visually impressive in motion. The story might seem simple on paper, an explorer seeking higher ground through mysterious hallways, but approachable design and the progressive unlocking of abilities make every area feel rewarding to return to as you discover new secrets. Best of all, Pseudo Regalia is relatively short but unforgettable, perfect for picking up during the winter sale. Its combination of style, speed, and nostalgic charm puts it firmly on the list of hidden gems worth your wish list this season.
And that wraps up our list of Steam Winter Sale hidden gems. Whether you're hunting for something cozy, challenging, weird, or completely unexpected, these games prove you don't need a huge budget to make something special. If you found a new favorite, let us know which one caught your eye, and don't forget to share your own hidden gem picks in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
And that wraps up our complete compilation of 80 Steam Winter Sale hidden gems. If any of these caught your eye, now's the time. The sale is almost over, and some of these discounts won't be back for a while. Let us know which games you picked up and drop your own hidden gem recommendations in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.